G'day nerds, behind me is a hill. We're in StLucia today, this morning actually, on a beautiful winter's Sunday morning. It's about 15 degrees, probably a bit cooler, absolutely beautiful temperature. That's not what we're here for. What we're going to do is turn around, because behind me is another hill. This is a watershed. The water that falls on this side of the hill falls into a creek. And it's a special creek, and today we're going to walk its length. It's only short, but it has really historical and cultural significance for this area. And I'm not talking about native peoples, I'm talking about European peoples. Although I don't doubt it has cultural significance for native peoples as well. I just don't know about them. So anyway, let's have a look. Well folks, we're on Central Avenue and this is 6th Avenue. This is the ridge of the watershed and it heads down to our creek. So let's go and have a look. Here's our little creek just at the bottom of this hill, fairly steep hill. And there's one of my favourite trees to hate on, of course, the African tulip. Rather big one too. Had one of those got one of those cut down the other week through my complaining to a local landowner. They chainsawed it down. One for us. One for the good guys. So there's a little creek there. That heads into a place called Banksia Park, one of the more beautiful little parks in Brisbane, I know that. You just cross the road here. Because the other side of the creek, obviously, beautiful piece of reconstructed temperate rainforest in there. But the other side of the creek has been well and truly anthropomorphized. Up the hill there it goes, and it's just got houses built on it. And as you can see, the usual treatment, we stick it in a pipe and we put drains on it. But anyway, people got to have somewhere to live, I suppose. Can't build your $1 million mansions at Seagate. Oh, hang on, yes you can. Or, I can't think of a suburb now. They're all $1 million mansions, aren't they? What the hell? So yeah. There's Banksia Park down there. There's people, kids running around in there because there's a do on here today, I think. They might not be doing too much filming, but anyway. Let's go down and have a look. As you can see by the size of these trees, this wasn't built yesterday. This is one of the more beautiful little community-run parks in Brisbane. Kudos to James, the local member, and the local people who keep this going because it's absolutely gorgeous. Let's have a walk through and have a look at some of the features. So we're in Banksia Park now. I feel like Harry Bellamy. But it is a really beautiful place. Unfortunately, that's the pipe down there that this creek, it's not called Banksia Creek, this is Banksia Park. I want to have this creek renamed to Alvey Creek. We'll see why. Right now it's known on all the maps as Drain. Which is, I think, a bit unimaginative. Here's the pipe that is Alvey Creek at this part of the world. And then it goes down this beautiful watercourse that people have obviously looked after and done the right thing by. As you can see by the red flowers on the ground, guess what we're standing under? A native bee killer. Should get some signs made up. Native bee killer. I'm just smacking on the trunks of these trees. Might wake people up. As you can see, this is beautiful temperate rainforest. This is in the middle of StLucia. This is a few hundred metres from the University of Queensland. It's really nice. So the Alvey family were at the base of this creek. We'll get to that later, where it joins the Brisbane River, for the best part of 100 years. When old Mr. Alvey, Charles Alvey I think his name was, if I'm wrong I'll put it up on the screen. When he first opened his factory, there's a Brisbane shale wall over there. Didn't notice that when I walked past it. Oops. They had no electricity. This is a factory producing fishing reels in Brisbane before the war with no electricity. They had treadle mills, treadle drills, treadle lathes, and they worked with gas, as in oxyacetylene, and they had gas lighting. So yeah, talk about being an industrial pioneer in Brisbane. He most certainly was. During the war, because he had skills with Bakelite, they put him to work making Bakelite parts for various things, like the big radios and anything else that needed Bakelite, because he knew how to machine it. Anyway, the company still goes. It's up at Wacom now. I've actually done a video on it. Go on my playlist. I can't put a link on there. I'll put a link down below for it. Anyway, we've got kids coming. I don't like videoing kids, so we'll come back in a bit. There's the exit of Banksia Park. The creek came down here, of course, always downhill, and it ran through this park here, but unfortunately she's all been well and truly manscaped. We'll pick it up on the other side. So up there's where the Banksia Park came out. The creek actually went across there, but nowadays it's been modified. Comes down this amazing little concrete race and hits the new creek. There. I suspect that's not the case. That is actually meaning the pipe that comes from the park underneath this park. It's a Fred Chanel Drive, pretty main intersection. This is where the creek used to flow. Under here, probably still does actually, it's just in a drain. In fact, over in the corner of this park, we can see a massive drain because this is where the creek is. It runs through the backs of all these units, under them, and occasionally through them, of course. Let's go and pick the rest of it up. So that road you can see down there is Sir Fred Chanel Drive. And this is sort of the creek, but it isn't really. It's just a drain that's been dug because this place really floods. As you can see by the drains in this little channel, the creek is underneath here in pipes, and this is basically just to take the overflow. But the interesting stuff's happening on the other side here. This is that block of units that I showed you being built. No ad for McNab. Property developers in Australia. Interesting combination of greed and incompetence. They just keep going broke. It's good to see if you're a big enough property developer, you can, put your fence in a watercourse. I know it's only temporary because it's there scaffolding, and I have no objection to it really. But here when I try to do this, it wouldn't matter what the reason is, the answer would be no. So here's the little creek flowing under the beautiful bridge. It's a great bridge actually. It takes the bike path up to the uni. Vegetation, none of that's native. And as you can see by the red flowers on the ground here, what's above us? A bee killer. Holy Christy. You need to be more vocal. Anyway, here we are with all of our erosion control, as you can see, which is not working because it's, in the creek. And this is where it joins the Brisbane River. Well, joined the Brisbane River, as you can see. That is a fairly substantial concrete slab. It may just be temporary to hold the scaffolding. Let's hope that's the case. Scaffold. Not sure what the plural of scaffold is. I think scaffold is one and scaffolding is two. I'll have to look that up. Someone's got a nice spot to sit down in, have their lunch, throw a line in. A couple of nice spots actually. The obligatory milk crate. Of course, now this is a good fishing spot. Fish like these little sandy beaches. This is something that's changed in the Brisbane River since we've stopped dredging it. And here is the creek flowing to the ocean. Quite clear, I might add. So that's being spring fed somewhere because it hasn't rained here in a couple of weeks. And here we are. There's the West End Ferry Terminal over there. Awesome place. Bus takes you almost anywhere from there. And that's the big Tuff Ridge. That's a schist ridge actually, but that's Tuff up there. You can see the city, Campbell's Tower of Power, just poking its head over the horizon there like some alien space creature. And that white house over there was in one of my Brisbane's spookiest houses video. Sorry people. Anyway, this is where it ends. Now where you see all this construction here and all this mess was the Alvey Creek factory, right here, that block. There was a house on it after that, and you can see that big fig there is from the Alvey days. We'll find that. I'll look at some maps, we'll get you some images. So I just had a good talk to James, our local councillor. Met him in the park, and I want to see some of the maps, so I'm going to do them anyway, so let's do it. That's what we have left. We've got to get rid of this garbage. These seeds are too prolific. That needs to go. And above it is a good old she oak. I used to hate on those trees, but them and I have come to respect each other over the years. Anyway, let's get back to the T-Rocks cave. See if we can make some sense out of the story. Well, here we are folks, back in the 1950s. Here's the Alvey factory on the edge of Alvey Creek. The creek we're talking about is just in front of that hole on the left-hand side of this image, about 20 metres over. We'll have a look at it in a minute, but yeah, that building been underwater quite a few times. Lucky it had no electricity. Here we are. Now we can see the building here, and I'll put a ring around it. There we are. And this is in 1936. It's already going. 1946. Here we go in 1946, and we are all getting a few more buildings there. We can see the creek snaking along through there. 1955. Oh, the creek's been a bit modified there. You see it's been cut through with pipes, but the factory's still there, still right at the end of the road where it always was. Here's a LiDAR. It shows the creek fairly. You can see the creek bed. You can see Banksia Park there. It's not a very long creek. It's really not, but it's important. This is the 1897. It's there, but it's not named, of course, because it's still not named. But yeah, it's looking good. Here we see the creek is unnamed, but the creek up the road is called Smythe Creek. And this, on another map, this creek is incorrectly named Smythe Creek, like in this map here. It says Smythe Creek, but that's wrong. Smythe Creek is the other creek. There's a mistake in this map. Charles originally didn't want both those blocks, but they accidentally built his factory a few yards onto the other person's block, and they had to sell him the block, which got him the block next to the creek. So, yeah, it isn't a modern thing. Surveyors make mistakes, builders make mistakes, which quite happens. Here's Mr. Charles Alvey himself. The old man. Why you'd want to remember like that, I would never know, but anyway, he did. Self-made man, there's no question of that. Here's the whole team. I think this is in the 1930s, 1940s I should say. Look at the vehicle there, way to go. Alvey Reels, because no reason. This is the grandson. I don't have a distinct photo of his son. This is his grandson, and these are the two grandsons who ran Alvey up until a recent time. I'm not sure of the corporate structure now. I know they were going to go broke and then they restructured, so good on them. They're out at Wakehall. Here's the reel. Everyone had one of these. 8 nylon, 8 fingers. Caught fish, no question of that. Very simple. That's the whole idea of them. Well, folks, I'm in the middle of preparing a submission to the state government to have that creek officially named Alvey Creek. I'll let you know how I get on. Not big on paperwork. Keep rocking. T-Rocks out.
So, 'cause if you don't, I'll come round to your house and I'll rip your bloody